Well, I just take the time here and make another comment like on yesterday's video. Went over a little bit better than I expected it to. I mean, like I pretty much was calling somebody out. And usually them type videos, they don't go over too well on from what I've seen on their channels. And I was quite surprised how well it was received and it was nice that nobody just went out and attacked them. I mean, stuff got said back and forth, but usually they end up just calling names back and forth and bullshit like that. And for the most part, I think we thought it was some of the backlash, or I don't want to say backlash, but some of the responses back and forth, they were pretty respectful. And like I say, that's one thing on this. Why you can't assume, I basically was implying that they were a millennial. Well, he's the end of Gen X. Even, from what he commented back there and stuff. And like I say, when I hear somebody say they're first generation farmer, I'm thinking like in the last 5 or 10 years. You lose prospect of time and stuff. But like I say, overall, one of the reasons I made that video is, like I say, I don't have a problem somebody criticizing. But what's happened in this country, and I'm not saying, like I say, I didn't even comment on any of the comments he's ever made. That's one thing, sticks and stones, just ignore them. I do that. Like I say, it wasn't a problem. What worked me up, though, was one comment saying I'm an embarrassment, which, like I say, I am embarrassed about the way things are around here. And I'll go into that a little bit more here in a bit. But then when you got two guys start all of a sudden get together and start bantering back and forth with the same, and it just builds, and like I say, I have no problem opinion. The other guy, he goes back and forth, and it's all fine. But like I say, sometimes it gets to the point, you gotta speak up, say something. And like I say, I forgot what I was going to say. Let me pause here. But that's the way our country seems to be going. There's always, you got the two extremes. Our government's a perfect example. You got liberals and you got conservatives. Two extremes. There doesn't seem to be anything in the middle anymore. Now, and it's fine, and it is, like I say, I don't need somebody blowing sunshine up my ass, and when I say that, I mean like these guys, and this is not exactly what they're doing, but when somebody's, well, I got to move this 8230 and this out of the shed so I can get back to this, so, oh God, the birds pooped on it, I better wash that off. Just, to me, it's just like they're showing off, or patting themselves on the back a little bit more, want that praise. And then you got the guys that just cut everybody down and have nothing positive to say. It just doesn't seem like there's anything in the middle anymore. And blank again. But what he said was that the criticism was meant to motivate me. Yeah, like I say, it works both ways. But like I say, when you're at the extreme end of both ways, it doesn't do no good either. And I appreciate, and I have no ill feelings against anybody, and I appreciate the explanation. But like I say, there's just a fine line between everything. And where my frustration comes in, and why I get pissed off, and like I say, I am embarrassed the way things are, because things were way better. I used to be able to do so much better. I've never milked, the most I've ever milked is 40 cows. Normally, I'm generally 32 to 35 cows milking. I have a neighbor that used to be down the road here. They milked over 50 cows, close to 60. I used to send more milk, sometimes twice the milk that they sent. I know I could get milk out of cows. When in 91, when the milk check went into my name, and the reason the milk check went into my name, we were sent into a cheese plant at the time. They eliminated this route because they were driving so far, getting so little milk, they eliminated this milk. And my dad, he was Social Security age. So the reason the milk check went in my name, he went to claim Social Security. But also at that time, my dad was having health problems. I'm almost certain he was going through depression because he didn't even care or try to look for another place to ship milk. We had until January 31st of 1991 to find another market. I called one of the milk haulers at the time to find out who, and he got me in touch with the milk inspector on January 29th. And I signed the contract. It was MMI at the time, which eventually merged into DFA. And that's how the milk check went in my name. Yet I still had to pay all the bills, and then my dad ended up in the hospital and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. But at that time, we were milking in the old barn, 3 bucket milkers. The junk room I got up there with all the tools and stuff in it used to be the milk house. It was 100 foot from door to door. We were carrying milk. And when I took over, we were always in that 40, 45 pound range. We had a 310 gallon tank. Within 2 years, I was flooding that 310 gallon tank. It was up a few number of cows. I changed some things around. I was flooding a 310 gallon tank. So the milk hauler at that time too dealt with, he was your buddy. He would get you anything, sell you anything, and loan you money, and then you were stuck with him or hauling your milk, scratch my back, I scratch yours type deal. So he had a 415 gallon tank at the time. We changed to that tank. In less than 2 years, I was flooding that tank every other day. So then, and at this time, this was just before my dad died when that happened. So then, like I say, in less than 2 years, I put it in a 545 gallon tank, and at a point, I was flooding that tank. But it was enough, it was only 1 or 2 cans. Milk hauler had 3 trucks running every day. He had the truck was passing, he would eventually was coming in here picking it up every day because he had a truck passing through here because 2 main roads, north and south, east and west, less than 2 miles from me, not much room to kick in. So that's where it stayed. Consistently. And over the years I built up. I could consistently, at this point, was holding a 60, 65 pound tank average, year round. Then we built this barn in 2006. Plan was, like I say, I never planned on milking more than 50 cows. This barn, I think, would be way overcrowded, 50 cows. It's good enough for 40, more enough for what I need to milk. At that time, when I built this barn, all of a sudden it came up. It was in the paper, guy had a 1,000 gallon tank. My plan was to move the 545 gallon tank down to this barn and just live with that. Well, this 1,000 gallon tank came up for $2,000. If anybody prices bulk tanks, that's a damn good price on a bulk tank because a 1,000 gallon tank would usually go $4,000 or $5,000. Plus, he had that free, well, I had replaced the free heater at one time, but I had the free heater for the hot water. So, I bought that, figuring that's going to be the simplest damn thing. Just buy that tank, have it installed, have everything ready to go. When I move in here, don't have to worry about moving tanks between milkings, the whole deal. And I end up selling the other tank, and the 1,000 gallon tank, 50 cows is about right. At the time, I don't know how the standard is anymore, but it was recommended you have 3 days storage in case there was a weather event or something. The milk truck couldn't get in here, you had room for 3 days milk. Now most times here now, most guys are on everyday pickup a lot of times here now. Because of what the markets want nowadays is more or less, I should say. But so that should have been big enough for anything. Now that tank came in handy one time since 2006. that the milk truck couldn't get in here. I filled that tank in 3 milkings. 1,000-gallon tank, like I say, less than 40 cows. Filled it in, and like I say, none of these numbers are big and spectacular, because we're still talking only like 60-pound tank average. You watch these other guys out there, they're 70, 80-pound daily averages on cows, 90 pounds, you know. So, but after I moved in here, I mentioned the other day, this was supposed to be a compost pack. It became a manure pack, which was the worst thing I could ever done. I had nothing but health problems. I went through a spell of toxic mastitis. So if nobody knows what that is, it's basically E. coli mastitis. More or less, the cow is going to be dead from it. There is no way to treat it. There is no cure for it. What happens is they get such a buildup of infection in them that they go down and can't get up, and you more or less end up dragging them out of the barn. Well, after battling that and back and forth, like I say, because you couldn't keep them clean, that's where I put in the free stalls. Now, like I say, I've improved things over the years. I've built up things. I put these free stalls in. I started to put them in 2011, and I had these all done. I had the cows in there December 8th. And at this time, though, I'm running 600,000 cell counts, getting quality violations, threatening to be shut off. I put these free stalls in. The cows were on them this December 8th. That month, I got quality bonuses. By February, I was getting the highest quality bonuses I could. I had double-digit cell count numbers. Things going good. Now, it was at this time, and because of the mastitis problem and stuff, production was tanked on them too. Not as bad as I am now even. Now I'm worse than I was back then. I had started working with a nutritionist, and he's the one that mentioned the size of the stalls out there, which I think could be because of the stalls there, not just because of the dimensions he gave me, but the stalls that were used, because they make stalls different lengths and stuff. But anyway, I had started working with him. Within 6 months, he had my herd average up 3,000 pounds. He would change something in the feed, we would see a response. He would suggest something, we try it, we would see a response. It would go up and up and up. And from 2011, 2012 there, when I started working with him, till about 2016, it was all up. I was within, and like I say, these still ain't fantastic numbers. I have never had a 20,000 pound herd average on this farm. Most guys, these big farms are 28, 30,000 pounds. They're getting 50% more milk basically than what I am. I've ever got out of these cows. But you can still make money at these numbers. So, all of a sudden 2016 hit. There was nothing he did would make a difference. He was through Cargill. I have no idea why Cargill was still sending me feed. I got like 6-7 months behind on feed. I was 5 digits in debt to them. I ended up having to cash out part of my mutual fund at the time to pay that off. Because I finally got to the point where he wasn't doing nothing. I was just running up a bill, like I said, way more than I ever should have then. So I tried another nutritionist. He came in here through AgriKing. Big mistake. Big mistake. I've tried AgriKing before. They've never done anything for me before. This guy actually tried. I have no fault against him. At that time is when this is now up to 2018. It's when I had discovered there was stray voltage. I was detecting stray voltage. Had a guy come in, test for it. He determined it was coming through utility, had the utility, and I mean, like I said, I've been all this before, put that isolator switch on, still never made any difference. So I went through him. He could never get production up. Eventually, they consolidated areas. He got let go. Another woman took over for AgriKing. I gave her 6 months or so. She couldn't get nothing to come up. Now, yeah, I have poor quality feed now. But for the last 5 years now, all the feed I put up's poor quality. Yeah, we've had some bad weather. There was a year I didn't get nothing chopped in haylage until June. And you know, haylage in June is crap. I just made something to feed them at that year. Then there's been years I didn't get no corn size because we had several wet years. Couldn't get corn planted, couldn't get the corn off. Even when I did get corn chopped that one year, it was on the immature side because I got planted late. It's been a lot of that. But still, there should be no reason why these cows are milking as bad as they are right now. I mean, even if I fed no grains and everything, they should be able to be 30, 40 pounds. But there is just no increase, nothing you change. Because like I say, you take the nutritionist. They know it takes Z to make 65 pounds of milk. They test your forages, and they know that's X. So they know what they got to put in grain, Y. So you got X, you know what you put in for Y to get to Z. And like I say, yeah, they might be balancing for 70 pounds of milk. You're not going to see that. But if you're only at 40 pounds of production, and you balance for 70 pounds, you should see an increase up to 50, 55 pounds or something, and it's not overnight, it should be gradual. But like I said, there has been no upward trend. And that's where I get frustrated, because there should be something, there is something, a problem. And like I said, it could be water. I've had water tested 3 times. Through Dairy One, where I was used to test milk through, Agri King, and I sent samples last year to Penn State. And they've all come back. So I have no clue what the problems are. Now, the other part of the frustration is once you start on downward trend, cows will drop on milk faster than they will go up. So once you start getting behind, there's a very hard chance to get back up. And like I say, with the comments being made that it's a sinking ship, yeah, I know it. I'm probably just wasting my time. Bad decisions. I used to be all Holsteins. Well, now mostly color breeds, a lot more jerseys. Well, that's not a problem really, because you can still could be better off instead of having a Holstein milking 100 pounds at 3.7% butter fat and a 3% protein. You can milk a 70-pound Jersey. Now, this is just not accurate, but what I'm saying is Jerseys will run, say, a 2% protein. So another 0.5% protein, or butterfat, I should say. And protein might be 3.2. So another 0.2 pounds of protein. If they're paying $1.50 a pound for butterfat, the difference between a 3.5 butterfat test and a 4.2 is 75 cents a 100 pounds. So you can have a Jersey give less milk with a higher component, and you could make the same money, but because you're sending less milk, you're paying less on trucking. So, I mean, there's a lot of numbers to go through. So you don't need the big productions to make a profit, but when the production, way low production, that's where the problem gets. And like I say, I've gotten so far behind, I'm probably not going to dig the hole out. The whole reason I'm still fighting to stay in it is, one, because I actually think, and this would be for another video, smaller farms are where it's going to come back to at some point. I mean, probably not in my lifetime. People are going to go hungry before they wise up. But they want to talk about diversity. The farmer, he should be milking cows. He needs to grow some corn on the side or make maple syrup or whatever. But yet they're consolidating the whole industries. And, like I say, that's for a whole other video maybe. But like I said, that's my frustration, that things cannot be as bad as they are for no reason. And when I go through different things, vets are another one. When you ask a vet, it could be something viral, something got in here because there's, what the hell they call it? They have a vaccine for it, but the vets will tell you it's basically worthless. It comes in manure from other animals. It could be as simple as cats shitting in the feed. Where mine was coming from, I had coons getting into the silo bags out there. And it's not coccidios. It begins with a C. There's lepto and all these other ones that you vaccinate for. But this one's not part of that vaccine with the lepto and BVD and all that. It was a separate one, but he pretty much tells you it doesn't do you any good. So like I say, is when you ask about something like that and they hem and haw around, they have no interest in even suggesting anything to test for, or it's just useless. And that's where I say, yeah, you need the experts. Yeah, you need the nutritionist, you need the agronomist, you need your field rep from the milk company, your banker. And that's another thing. I've never worked as a banker. And that's part of probably where I got where I was, because I did everything on credit cards. But I used to be able to pay things off. I never had to borrow money from a bank for an operating loan. I borrowed money to buy stuff. I bought trucks, bought the round baler, my disc mine, not necessarily through a bank, but I financed it through John Deere Credit or New Holland Credit or whatever. But I've never had to really go to a bank for operating like that. But when I say these experts are useless anymore, I think it's more because there are so few farms out there, they don't want to travel around. So what they do is, well, it comes down to like everything else, even farming, making the most money for doing the littlest. And that's part of the problem out there too. Either people don't want to work, or they don't want to do their jobs. And that's what I mean with these experts. They would rather go to, we'll take Cargill for example. The way that nutritionist got paid was by the amount of feed you bought. It was all figured in the price of the feed, So if he could go to this one farm with 1,000 cows and work up a feed program for them, he comes every other week, so he's there one time. They're buying, say, 1,000 cows. It's probably got to be up around 40 ton a week, give or take. Like I said, I'm just throwing that number out. 40 ton. Okay, he's making off that, say he makes $50 a ton. Just roughly what they put in how they work their price. So he's gone to that one farm and every other week, and there's $2,000 for him. Now he comes to my farm. I averaged 12 ton a month at that time. Basically, I was getting 2 6-ton batches. Okay, he comes to me, he makes $600. So he can either go to 10 guys like me and make $600 here, there, and there, and spend 3 days, 4 days getting to all these guys, or he can go to that one farm and make $2,000. And that's what I mean why these experts are useful, because it's like on that pulsation. The guy that came out here, he didn't want to come out. And I guess I don't think I ever posted that video. It cost me $700 for that circuit board to have installed. It was $268 for the circuit board. He charged me $80 an hour to install the thing, and that was 4 hours labor, because he left the shop, charged me from the hour he left there to the hour he got back there, then charged me mileage to get here, and ended up $700. And like I said, I still don't know, and it didn't end up fixing the problem. I still don't know what the hell it is. I got it so I could use it, but that's for another video too. I got something else I was going to post on that, and I've already gone way more than I wanted on this. But that's what I'm trying to put out there, is they don't want the small farms. That's even the milk companies. They don't want commingled loads of milk. They want one load from one farm basically anymore. It's all coming down about control. But, and I probably still didn't say everything I want to say, but that's why I get frustrated. Like I say, I don't need somebody telling me, and I appreciate it, but like I say, I don't need to be cut down like that when I know how bad I'm doing when I used to do so good. And that's where I just beat my head. And basically, the only reason why I'm still trying to milk cows is I'm hoping I find what it is and I can go, aha. So, but this is just another rambling, I guess. I didn't want to go this long. Try not to go this long because I don't take the time to really cut and edit these things down. But yeah, I just put that out there. I'm glad the way the response went to it. Like I say, they just didn't get all bitter and back and forth. You know, somebody commented that, you know, I keep it real. Well, yeah, I do hold back. Like last video, I put a little bit more out there with the language. But yeah, normally I try to keep it more reserved, because nobody wants to hear somebody cuss and swear. And there's channels out there that get away with it. But, you know, try to keep it on a more respectful level and not just be bitter about everything. But, I mean, it's just, I get frustrated and I forget what I was going to say too. So, but I just want to make sure, put it out there. Like I say, there's no hard feelings about everything. I hope I'm glad the way everything went. You know, I'm going to put more videos out with my opinions on stuff here like this. But this one, like I say, is just supposed to be more the frustrations when you've done so good for a while and then all of a sudden you can't do a damn thing. And like I say, it should not be this bad as what they are. And that's where I just can't get like I say right now, just get that brain fog. So it's another thing. I don't like putting my face on here. I hate these type videos too, but put it out there. Probably what I ought to do is one of these, just do them live, something like that. But that's a problem too, getting the time to do all that. So, well, see how much if I post this or not. So thanks for watching. I hope everybody's got a pretty good idea, because like I say, these videos, even if you put emojis and stuff, you just don't know everybody's intention on stuff half the time. You know, things come off different than what they actually mean. I mean, I can understand that. And so, well, I'm gonna go finish up something else. We'll catch up with you later.